Grand Rising, and welcome once again to Let the Truth Be Told, coming to you from Library of Khalifa Media. BEYON, the BS TV is this segment, and the series continues, and Let the Truth Be Told. We're working on now the solution. Last week, an atomic bomb was dropped in clearing up the misconceptions as to what is and what isn't with the Moorish science temples that derive from the Prophet's movement and where we're at with that. Today we're going to discuss foundation. And here I am again with my brother Victor Taylor Eel, my Grand Sheik and chairman, by the way. I don't mind emphasizing that, because without his tutelage, I wouldn't be where I'm at today with the balance of information that I've received. Islam. So with that, Islam, my brother, once again. I don't think anybody else will get this type of interview around the United States of America ever in the history of interviews.
No.
We're going to start off, again, we're going to lay the foundation as to how we work towards solution, circling the wagons, if you will, of all the groups, not just Moorish groups, because even our prophet said that some of our best Moors are still in the church. Some of our Moorish American temples are churches.
Yeah, that's the problem.
And so today we're going to discuss solutions. We're not going to teach per se, but I want you guys to understand something, that this is not again about ego or 5 minutes of fame here. It's about restructuring and leaving that legacy for our babies, securing our communities properly, stepping out of the fraud and the the misinformation, the controlisms that have come out of all movements, particularly the so-called black movements.
Right.
They so into pimping the people because they talk real fancy, they talk a little different than what the status quo has been talking, and it sounds good to the people, but they still don't have no works to show for it. So we're going to lay the foundation today, and my brother Taylor Eel is going to lay out some things for us that occurred in this hemisphere with some of the major players that you hear about in our history books and even on the streets. So with that, I'm going to turn the floor over to brother Taylor Eel.
Islam. Praise Allah. I guess first we can start with Booker T. Washington.
Booker T.
Yes. You have those who came prior to him, but when he came with what he came with, as far as establishing the school and the economic system to fund that school and how it branched out to other schools, he was the best example. That's why Garvey came looking for him. And when Garvey got here, as we know, he had already passed his form. But Garvey then instituted the plan of the Tuskegee Institute and, organized the UNIA and its schools. It had elementary schools, high schools, and colleges. One of the books that we in 101 use as a foundation is The Message to the People, the little blue and white book, Message to the People.
Tim Martin?
Yeah, Tony Martin.
Tony Martin.
As you know, when you first came in, that was the first thing, before you can get into anything,
read it.
You got to read this book. If you don't read Message to the People, then The Confusion by Marcus Garvey. It was his curriculum that taught certain basic things that then allowed Noble Drew Ali to come with the information that he came with. But what Garvey came with in that Message to the People was a basic curriculum for how leaders are to move. And that has been missing in most organizations. You have people keep bringing up Marcus Garvey, but the majority of them don't honor his messages. And so, take this. Can you stop and start over? I'm gonna take this off because I'm getting hot already.
Let's pick up where we leave off.
Yeah.
There's no bad footage.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, well, excuse me.
No.
It's
Yeah, so you have Garvey's message to the people. That's really the foundation. You can read certain things from Booker T. Washington that to give you a more expounded understanding on our economic condition then, and it'll help you understand now. But Garvey's message to the people is really the foundation for Moorish Americans or any African American group here in the United States of America to read to get a basic understanding on how the organization is supposed to move. Any organization that doesn't have that book or leadership in that organization who haven't read that book, you will see the results in the organization, and that's why the majority of our organizations aren't really functional.
Well, it's certainly that 205-page book, because that's exactly what it is. Because that was part of my curriculum when I entered the chamber with this brother, and masterful. It laid the groundwork from which to grow from, and it took a Jamaican national, ironically, to come to these shores to lay out an international business plan. And he was a nationalist.
Yes.
So
Pan-African nationalists.
So any of my African American and misnomer black brothers and sisters who don't understand that correlation with Brother Garvey, he was truly the forerunner of Noble Drew Ali.
Yes.
He laid the foundation of international trade and nationalism.
Yes. He said black people need a nationality. So anybody still calling themselves black, and Marcus Garvey said black people need a nationality, you have to question, then how do you say, how am I saying I'm flying Garvey's flag, which was a banner for the UNIA? It wasn't a flag. We needed a flag. He said we need a flag. He said, we need a nationality. And so the nationality that was brought was by Prophet Noble Drew Ali. That's why the one who came after him, Elijah Muhammad, came saying, we are the nation of Islam. Specifically talking about the Islamic part, because when Prophet Noble Drew Ali took the Moorish Temple of America to Islam, a lot of brothers and sisters were still so stuck in the church, they wanted to chase women, eat pork, and drink liquor. They said, no, we're not going that way. But Garvey is the foundation for all of this. His shipping line. He had every facet of governmental structure Garvey had. That's why he was considered to be the provisional president of Africa. All of Africa. The provisional president of Africa. And so Garvey is our foundation. So like I said, you have a lot of people who would speak on Garvey, but Garvey said that the black man needed a Quran of economics.
Woo! Quran of economics. Why would he use that word specifically? Not a Bible of economics.
You can get literary Garveyism, which is a part of that same series, and poetic Garveyism, if I'm not mistaken, or the poetry of Marcus Garvey in that same series by Tony Martin, and you'll see poetry that was written by members of the Garvey movement talking about Allah. The reason why the Garvey movement split, a lot of people don't understand, like why it didn't go no further than it went in 1922, like really go further, is because it was a religious split, between the Christians, the Hebrew Israelites, and the Muslims back then. Drew Ali saw that and said, we don't have that problem. We have we Islam by religion. We're so-called Hebrew by culture. We follow the good principles of Christianity by action. So this is what we are. Sitting here arguing about this stuff don't really make any sense. So Drew Ali solved some of the problems that was in the Garveyite movement. A lot of people now, they still just want to drink. Garvey got up there drunk on stage. Drew Ali checked that. He said, no, you can't get up there under any harmful influence and so on and so forth. So you had these Moors who, get up and they high off whatever, or they drunk off whatever, and then they say, this is the Moorish science. No, it's not Moorish science.
Not at all.
And so the foundation was really shook, because what Noble Drew Ali did, he took everything that Garvey did, he took everything Booker T. Washington did, and he took the good parts. That's why he say we returning back to our ancient forefathers' divine creed and principles. We're not just returning back to our ancient forefathers. Our ancient forefathers did a whole bunch of stuff that we not we don't really.
We ain't trying to repeat that.
We ain't trying to take credit for. We don't want to repeat that.
We did lose our empire behind the ancient
and
forefathers.
So, like again, we know as Moors exactly what we did and how we have caused a problem towards civilization, as other tribes and clans in Africa as well. But we know our part, and so what we're doing is bringing back the divine part, that which made us a nation, a great nation, and actually had us to a connection with the Creator and the creation around us.
Now, flags. Well, first of all, you brought up 2 points that I can't let you get too far past because our audience probably might have the same questions. It's been rumored back and forth, and then even recently, I understand that Brother Garvey went to the first convention of Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Will you please tell the audience what you know to be truth or falsehood?
No, Garvey wasn't in the country. Once Garvey left the United States in 1925, Garvey didn't return back to the turn back in 1928, 1929.
Did they ever meet?
Oh yes. Now, did they ever meet? Yes. Prophet Noble Drew Ali was a member of the UNIA between the years of 1919, if I'm not mistaken, and 21.
Is there evidence of that?
Yeah. You had Moors. You have old Moors, because I've seen the information. You have old Moors who will show you documents. Brother Emilio says himself that he followed the Prophet Noble Drew Ali out of the UNIA into the Moorish Symbol of America.
So y'all hear that, right?
So you
that
have others.
Part.
You have others who say that they follow Prophet Noble Drew Ali out of the UNIA to the Moorish Symbol of America.
Now that's amazing to me because I've never heard that.
Yeah. So there is evidence. And then you have some people say, well, he was talking about Prophet Noble Drew Ali when he said he was talking bad about an African prince or somebody who claiming to be an African prince, but he's not really an African prince. And you have people trying to say that was Noble Drew Ali. No, it was somebody from Nigeria who was trying to represent the organization coming over here saying he was an African prince and fleecing the people. We have the records. You can get the UNIA papers. I don't recall who they're written by or who they put together by, but they call the UNIA papers, and you can get the yearly minutes and records and papers and letters and everything that they've been able to confiscate from the UNIA. And so we have a few of those books, and we went through the whole collection and researched Marcus Garvey. That's one of our it's one of our curriculums. If you're saying you're gonna be a Grand Sheik, you got to spend a whole year on Garvey. You know, at this point in time right now, because of the age we've been in, you might have to spend a whole year on Elijah Muhammad, another whole year on Malcolm X, another whole year on Khalid.
Y'all hear this, right? The school has a curriculum, a real curriculum.
Yeah, because you got to study these people's works and see what moves they've already made, how they're being counteracted by the government, and then see if you still want to. Well, first off, you shouldn't still want to make that kind of move. You should be able to understand, like, okay, well, the government counteracted like this, we need to counteract like this.
Right.
It's not necessarily always the government. I won't say it's the government. It's elements inside the government that are corrupt. But it's still the government. Because if other elements in the government that are not corrupt don't speak on the corruption, then they're corrupt too.
Correct.
And so we calling out everybody. And so understanding that Garvey had a mission. Prophet Noble Drew Ali had a mission. Prophet Noble Drew Ali explains that Marcus Garvey is our John the Baptist in this time, and he's the Jesus of our time.
Praise Allah.
Because he came to save our people and uplift our people. Marcus Garvey is the forerunner. Nobody's done what Marcus Garvey did as far as raising and massing the people, like in the time of John the Baptist. Nobody had done what he did. Nobody had took the Messianic teachings and the washing ritual and put certain things together into the cultural reference that he did. And so now, when Garvey did what he did what he did. But I mean, if you understand Marcus Garvey was a loner. He had a whole bunch of statues in his home, and you know he gave honors to his ancestors in preserving. He was like the first African American real museum.
Now the red, black, and green flag. There's so many misnomers and misinformations.
It's a banner put out by Marcus Garvey it's the provisional flag of Africa. But once Kwame Nkrumah, who was a member of the UNIA, went back home and founded Ghana and put the red, gold, and green with the black star on it, honoring Garvey, the red, black, and green no longer was an actual standing flag of Africa, because Ghana had an actual standing flag, and that's the nation. That's why most African Americans to this day run over there to Ghana, because they understand the relationship. They don't run to Liberia because they understand the relationship. What happened to Garvey when he tried to put money in investments and build structures in Liberia, the government, the elements in the government, Goodyear took over his rubber plantations and so on and so forth. And so
But what do the colors mean for the audience again?
Red, it said mean the blood. Black's for the people. Green is for the land. Excellent concepts. The colors itself come from ancient Tamariu, or as other people call it, Kemet, and it represents Kemet, Jishur, and Ouachita. Ouachita is the green land. Jishur is the red land.
Wichita.
Ouachita.
Whoa,
Green land.
Teach
so
more.
the green land, the green is the land. So it's Ouachita, the green land. You have the Jishur, which is the red, which is the desert. That's where they get desert from modernly today. And you have Kemet, which is the black part, which is the black part of the land. It's all dealing with land.
Now, Kemet was a colony along the Nile, wasn't it?
Well, yeah,
colonies.
it was the Nile itself, and it was the fertile land that came down the Nile and made the land in the Nile when it flooded.
Oh, as they dredged it produced something.
That. And so it created a certain floodplain, and that floodplain is considered Kemet. Anything outside that floodplain, which is the green part, is the Ouachita. Anything outside that is obviously the desert, Jishur. So it's red, black, and green. It's the stages of science, of cultivation. And so we use the triangular mathematics to be able to navigate still to this day, and to pinpoint things still to this day. That's how we did our map to build a pyramid.
Triangular, triune.
Yeah, it's all mathematics. The Godhead, like Elijah Muhammad said, Islam is mathematics. Mathematics is the universe.
Sacred geometry.
Yes. And so these are the things, like we're saying, these are the things that are our foundations as Moorish Americans. A lot of brothers and sisters out there don't know what are the foundations as Moorish Americans. They're arguing over Kirkman Bay, Emili Il, Dingo Il, and these brothers have valid organizational structures. They did what they did, but we have to go outside the box right now and understand that a lot of people moved on with the Prophet's information and moved out a lot further than a lot of the people who stayed within the organization. And so them brothers and sisters inside the organization kept a key component of the Moorish Science Temple of America that if it was not preserved, you wouldn't have the knowledge that you got out right now, that got people putting us in BMI reports saying that we halfway terrorists because they don't understand what we are. No, we terrorized. That's what we are. We're the terrorized group of people that are being terrorized. Some terrorists are bothering us. We must say that. We have been terrorized for 400 years, even more than that, because they came into Africa with problems. And so,
now you bring up an interesting point, because and I have to speak on this, because this came up again, and it's going to keep coming up until we put this baby to bed. And that is, we just put together a manifesto against that particular decree that the FBI family put out against black extremists, and then they lumped the picture of our prophet in there, Noble Drew Ali, in there with the Moorish Science Temple of America.
yeah.
Now, they did not address other groups specifically, for the record, like Ouachita, for example.
What is that? That's my question.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
You have a lot of brothers and sisters, or a few brothers and sisters. They're a small colony or a small group or clan or tribe as they was before, who are now saying they're Ouachita. You have another group saying Yamasi. First off, as far as Native Americans are concerned, Cherokee is considered the chief tribe of all Native Americans in the United States of America.
Really?
Period. And the laws and treaties that went with them And the language that was given to that Sequoia made up by them is traditionally used as the #1 way to actually write most Native American languages. And the treaties that went under them are the ones that's more honored than anybody else.
And you said Sequoia within that sentence.
Yeah.
I've always known of the Cherokee to be along the eastern band that moved westward.
Yeah.
But the Sequoia,
Sequoia trees are here.
This region, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you understand that, I forgot who they, I can't recall who their, it's one of their ancient, oh man, what is his name? It's one of the ancient sages who came from the west of the Rockies. Well, his father was from the Rockies. He came east, taught them everything that they knew. Can't recall his name right now. But yeah, I mean, most of the stuff come out of the west.
Lemuria.
Yeah, most of the stuff come out of the west. We've been traveling.
West is
we've been
Lemuria,
traveling
family. Cap Khalifa.
Yeah, we've been traveling east for the longest. That's why when the Masons, they say, well, where you going? Going east.
Going east.
You know, because we've been traveling east.
Out of the west.
Yeah, exactly. When Estevanico de Moor
Across
got
the
off
burning
trip,
sands.
Yeah, when Estevanico de Moor got off the ship with the Spanish, he was traveling east. The Moorish Science Temple of America look like it's not a university and it doesn't produce scholarly people. And it does. But most of these people are not actually going to the Moorish Science Temple of America. They're going to Moorish Science Temples of America, which are study groups.